Welcome to your latest Forest transfer news. Coming up on today's episode, Marinakis greenlights 84 million rated player. Luiz says I will not lower my levels. Taiwo could be on his way to West Ham. And Forest set to sign Edwards, but is that the whole story? All this and plenty more coming up today on your latest Forest news. Let's get into it. Today's video is sponsored by our good friends STOCKSFC, the football stock market where you can buy and sell your favorite players and earn rewards as well. And right now, if you click on the link that's pinned in the comments or scan this QR code, you will be given 5 loan players completely for free. So when I did it, I got myself Trent Alexander-Arnold, I got myself Nicholas Jackson, David Raya, Mo Salah and Curtis Jones as well. So now if Mo Salah is to score a goal, get an assist or complete a key pass, I will earn rewards for the next month completely for free. So go sign up now and let me know in the comments who are the 5 loan players that you got. Let's get back to the video. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well and welcome to your transfer news. And boy, we got some exciting stories for you. Make sure, as I said, you check out STOCKSFC. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed as well. Let's jump into this first story, and I am seriously excited by it. And this is on Richard Rios, the 24-year-old Colombian who plays for Palmeiras. Yes, remember that team where we sniped out at them Danilo? This guy, for me, is exactly what we need. But before we go into him, let me tell you about his price, his backstory, and everything else. So we told you back at the end of July that Forest were interested in him, yet Manchester United at the same time were getting linked. His valuation went from 20 million to like $90 million. And in fact, they put a release clause of 84 million pounds on him, hence this valuation. However, Palmeiras are prepared to let him go for $20 million, which is about 16, 17 million pounds. Now he's 24 years old. He's 6'2". He has this really skinny physique with these like long grasping legs that just get into the ball, and you wouldn't expect him to be as strong as he is. By the way, he plays in midfield as a CM, as a CDM. For me, I feel he's more a ball playing CDM is how I would describe him. And his energy levels, his pressing, his tackling, his eye for a good pass, I think is phenomenal. I really do. And he is exactly what we need in this midfield. Because for me, you look at our back four, and I argue it's pound for pound the best in the league. You got Cristiano Ronaldo bagging the goals in up front. You've got Morgan Gibbs-White when he's on form. There's no one like him. You got the pace we've got on the wings. You got Anderson. And then you've got this gaping number 6 hole where Yates has done well to fill in, as has Dominguez. But Sangare has been out for too long. And even when he comes back, we're still going to have to give him a month, 6 weeks to get up to speed. This hole is so big, and we need someone who can dictate the pace of the game. And it's something I've been crying out for since we've been back in the Premier League. I'm sure you guys have heard me say it before. Win the midfield battles, you win the game. And this is where I still think our weakness is. Yes, we need another striker. Yes, we potentially need another winger or two. But a 6/ball playing midfielder who can recover the ball is exactly what we need. And Rios, for me, ticks every single box. Now, he's 24 years old. He also has played internationally for Colombia, 19 appearances for them, 2 goals. In fact, he was one of the stars of Copa America as well for Colombia. And why do I like him so much? Because he can dictate the tempo of the game. If he gets the ball after winning a strong tackle or whatever, and as I keep mentioning, his physique just doesn't look like it, he then can find the pass, he can dictate the pace of the game and everything like that. I want him. I want him so badly. And these reports are now saying that Marinakis has greenlit Forest to go after him. And this clearly has been a long process that Forest have scouted him previously, were interested in the summer, didn't go ahead with it because the feeling was that Nuno was happy with the blend of midfielders we had. Obviously, that was before Danilo and Sangare got injured early on in the season. I'm telling you now, if we get this guy, even if Sangare's fit, Sangare would struggle to get into this team. And the idea of him in there next to Anderson, I love the sound of it. I really do. Now, there's going to be the usual questions. Can he come in and adapt to the Premier League and the pace of it and what have you? Yes, is my answer. I don't think this guy would need a long turnaround time. I think he'd need time to settle down, learn the language, learn the style of Nuno's philosophy and formation. But I think that'll be picked up quickly. And the beauty of having Nuno as our manager is because we are going to this Brazilian model, well, this kind of scouting Brazilian model, where we're picking them up. We've got Edu coming in to look after the Marinakis family and what have you. And because Nuno can speak Portuguese, it doesn't really matter that these players coming over will not speak English, because he'll be able to communicate with them. He'll have Danilo, who he'll probably know in Palmeiras. He'll have Murillo, all the other Brazilians we've got in there, all the other Portuguese/Spanish speaking players. So that's not going to be a major problem. So Forest needs to go in for him. However, Spurs are very interested in him. And we know Spurs right now are in the mud. By the way, thank you so much, Spurs. You had one job to do and you couldn't even do it. You useless clowns. You're a joke of a team. You're a joke of everything. You're an embarrassment to the Premier League. Anyway, so Spurs are interested in him. They're talking about trying to get this deal done as well. And the other team that's looking at him is Everton. Now, we can scratch them off because we're third. They're not. And to that extent, you could say you can scratch Spurs off because they're still in the bottom half of the table. So I am excited about this one. I am excited that Marinakis has given the green light for us to go for him. We'll keep you posted on what happens. Let me know what you think of him, though. All right, let's talk about the second story, which is Douglas Luiz. And there have been reports coming out about him talking about his future. As you guys know, we've told you Forest have been interested in him, as have Fulham and a lot of other clubs in the Premier League. Now, the last update I gave you guys was that Douglas Luiz has heard from Forest, but is waiting to respond because he wants to hear what other offers come on the table. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, makes sense, you know, you don't sell your house to the first person that views it. You kind of look to see what other offers come on the table. But he can now go and do one, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want him. I don't want him. And I don't want to hear Ant in the comments either saying, oh, who cares what he thinks if he comes in his quality football. I don't care. This guy's a bell end, right? Let me tell you what he said. He said that he will not lower his level to come and play for Forest, and he said Fulham as well, if you believe the quotes that are in the reports, and there's no reason not to. Basically, he thinks he's too good for us. So I ask you this, Douglas Luiz. What is your level? Because right now your level is warming a bench in Italy. That's your level. You've started 2 games out of the 13 appearances you've had there. You are a good player. Your missus is probably more famous than you are, though. And are you happy to sit there and bench warm? What I don't want from you now, Mr. Douglas, is that no one else comes in for you and then you turn around and be like, you know what, maybe I will go to Forest now. Oh, I'll pretend that I didn't say that. It was taken out of context. And yeah, I didn't mean it. And I'll bring my missus for you guys to have all your PR shots and all this. Stay in Italy, man. Stay in Italy. Go back to Villa. Because that attitude is not someone I want in my club. But would you guys still take him, knowing he has said that? Let me give you some other quotes. It says that Luiz has no intention of joining Forest or Fulham. And if he were to leave the old lady, aka Juve, it has to be for a top 4 club like Manchester City or Manchester United. Someone needs to give him an updated Premier League table. And someone needs to point out to him that neither of those Manchester clubs are in the top 4. So either Mr. Luiz can't count, or he has been very, very ill-informed from his advisors. It is embarrassing. It really is. Would you take him or not? Let me know in the comments. All right, let's talk to you about a potential major departure from the City ground, and that's Taiwo Awoniyi, who's being heavily linked to West Ham right now. In fact, someone apparently has put a picture of him getting a train down to London. I mean, I'm sure it's not a fake picture or whatever, but how do you know when that picture was taken? How do you know where he was going and all this? And players don't tend to just jump on the next train, you know, the 316 leaving to get to London. They usually get like a car or a limo or flown down. Anyway, despite that picture, Florian Plattenberg has tweeted out to say that West Ham are very serious about signing Taiwo and they want to get him done immediately because Harry Potter needs reinforcement in the West Ham ranks. Now, from the Forest side, what's being reported is that they are willing to sell him, but they don't want to sell him without an incoming coming in to replace him. And also they are looking to recoup about 20 mil on Taiwo. Now we all know Taiwo's had his injuries, but we do know he scored lots of goals. Taiwo was able to bang him in one after the other at the end of the season before and the start of last season. But since then, the injury has just knocked him back and he just doesn't look fit. Even when Taiwo's fit, as much as I love him, if I'm being objective about him, he can't control a football. He shins most of his touches. He shins most of his shots. They still find a way to go into the back of the net. And I've backed him. But then I gave myself a slap in the face. And I said, would you have done this with a Worrell? Were you like this with Steve Cook? You have to look at Taiwo and ask yourself one simple question. With Forest third in the Premier League, is he good enough to be that player to push us either upwards or sustain where we are? And my answer to that is no. And I don't like to say that's the answer, but I can't let sentimentality cloud my judgment. I never have and I never should. I think you always have to be quite objective when it comes to these things. And the reality is, if Forest can recoup 20 mil on Taiwo, remember we bought him for I think 17.5. In terms of the amortization, there ain't much left on him anyway. So Forest would be making profit on this. Forest could probably sell him for 10 million and comfortably break even and probably have a few coppers left over. Now, in terms of Forest's stance on this, in terms of wanting to wait until they sign another player, I say don't wait. I say get him sold, take the money, and then we still have a couple of weeks to get someone through the door in the transfer window. I understand what Forest is saying. They're probably thinking, well, if we've sold Taiwo, then people know we're looking for a striker and prices inflate, No, because we already have a striker in place in Chris Wood. He's fully fit. I'm not going to jinx anything, but there is still time. It's not a rush to get him in. 2 weeks is plenty of time to get this done. We've seen plenty of links already. You've seen Igor Jesus being linked, Yuri Alberto, lots of strikers being linked. So there's definitely stuff going on in the background. And for me, as much as I love Taiwo, it's time to call it a day. Would he do a job for West Ham? Probably in that kind of mid-table, upper relegation battle team. Then yes, I think he could do just fine. He will get some service as well. They got some good wingers. He'd do well with Kudos. Somerville is a good player for them, and so on. So I can see him doing a job. And for me personally, I say get rid. What are your guys' thoughts now on Taiwo? Is it time to say thank you, all the best, good luck? And I would let him go with no ill wishes either. I think he's got a great personality. He's got a good look on life. He scored us some hugely important goals, and that can never be forgotten. But I want to remain objective on this. What are your thoughts? All right, let's bring you another story about a player that's being linked with Forest and Olympiacos, and that's Marcus Edwards. The ex-Spurs winger who's now at Sporting has fallen out with the club due to disciplinary problems. Apparently he's been turning up late for training camps, and they said that's the final straw, man. You're fired, and they want to get rid. Now they're asking for about 10 million euros for the player. And both Forest and Olympiacos think it's too much. The reason Sporting want to ask for that much money is because they only own 65% of him. Is that this 65%? That 65%? I don't know. The other 35% is owned by Spurs. So any deal they do, Spurs will get to take a 35% cut. And that's why Sporting are trying to hold out so strongly to try and raise his price. Now, Forest think this valuation and Olympiacos is too high. They are willing to figure out some kind of loan deal. In fact, there's talks that, all right, Forest, we'll buy him, we'll loan him out to Olympiacos, see how he gets on, and then maybe we'll take him from you in the summer. But at the moment, they're not close enough in terms of agreeing prices, in terms of, terms aren't even being considered. But with Sporting wanting to get rid of him so badly, feeling that he's a bad apple, you probably find that they come to some kind of agreement if indeed both Forest or Olympiacos do want him. Now again, we're talking about bad apples here. We're talking about people late for training. This ain't going to cut it with Nuno. I don't know how the Olympiacos fans would feel or react to it. Would it be acceptable? I don't know. But he is a good winger. He's 26 years old now, left-footed, plays like an inverted winger on the right-hand side, cuts in. I think he's had purple patches, if I'm being honest with you, where he's looked good. Mainly when he's played against Spurs, that one stands out to me. But outside of that, I don't really think he's going to fit in or he's actually worth it for us. But if he's going to go to Olympiacos, I can't be asked with another one of these sugar daddy ones where we pay for it, we give them to you. Yes, I know it's good on the PSR numbers and what have you. But if Olympiacos want him, just Olympiacos buy him. I don't know why we've got to be involved in this. But would you guys take him? Let me know in the comments down below. And that, ladies and gents, brings you up to speed with your latest transfer news. I know there's a lot for you to dissect there, so get your thoughts on everything in the comments down below. Please do make sure you've hit that like button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed as well. Go get your free STOCKSFC loan players and let me know in the comments who you get. Scan this QR code or click on the link that's pinned in the comments. Enjoy the rest of your day. Come on, you Reds.